After KP in the news.
That's right, it's time for KP in the video news. And what's going on, folks? And hey, I'm gonna do these articles here, and this just some things that popped up, and I was trying to keep it going in a different direction for like Black History Month, and but these things popped up, so hey, I'm doing the news, so I got to go ahead and do it. All right, here we go with the HBCU president resigns after being arrested for prostitution and drug scandal. Clinton, Mississippi, we have William Bynum Jr., who is the president of Jackson State University in Mississippi, has submitted his resignation following a recent arrest in connection with prostitution and drug charges. According to the Clinton Police Department, Bynum was one of 17 people arrested after a two-day operation which made contact with offenders through dark websites. Clinton Police Chief Ford Heyman said that those arrested responded to an online ad for prostitution services and were caught at a hotel by an undercover cop. Bynum, who is 57 years old, is facing charges including procuring services of a prostitute, false statement of identity, and simple possession of marijuana. Bynum has resigned from his post on Monday, effectively immediately, the Mississippi University system stated. Thomas Hudson, who served as a special assistant to the president and chief diversity officer, was assigned as acting president of the university. Bynum had been president of Jackson State and historically black college and university since 2017, after serving 4 years as president of Mississippi Valley State University. Meanwhile, Shonda McCarthy, who was 46 years old and another Jackson State University employee, was also arrested. She was accused of procuring services of a prostitute and possession of marijuana while operating a motor vehicle. So that's basically two people that got caught up in this sting here. And I'm like, wow, man, this is, go home, man. Go home to your wife, doggone it. Go home to your wife. Okay, it's another story coming from down south, and it's like, hey, down south, I don't fool with the South. Not just immoral, also illegal. A Georgia woman evicted after black family visits her settles with landlords for $150,000. A Georgia woman evicted for inviting a black family to her house for play dates where her children will be paid $150,000 by her former landlords to settle a discrimination lawsuit. Victoria Sutton filed a complaint in July against Patricia and Alan McCoy of Calhoun, Georgia. Sutton said the couple made racist statements and threatened to physically harm her if she contested the eviction. My landlord's behavior was not just immoral, it was also illegal, Sutton said in a statement. And I'm glad to see the McCoys are being held accountable and hope this settlement brings us one step closer to creating a more just society where people of all races can live together without fear. Sutton's attorney, Brian Corman, said the McCoys acknowledged they used racial slurs before evicting Sutton and apologized to her. But when reached by telephone Thursday afternoon, Patricia McCoy said the settlement was reached for her Sutton's lies, and that's all I've got to say. She then hung up the phone. Corman said the eviction violated the Civil Rights Act and the Georgia Fair Housing Act, which prohibits landlords from discriminating against tenants and their guests on the basis of race. Both Sutton and the McCoys are white. It's the kind of case that many people might think would have happened generations ago, Corman said, but it really shows how persistent racial intolerance has been in this country. According to the complaint, Sutton in September invited her black co-worker and his 5-year-old son to her house to play with her 2 daughters on a play date. Sutton had been renting the house in Adairsville, Georgia, about 60 miles northwest of Atlanta, for about a year. After the visit, Alan McCoy knocked on Sutton's door, called her a nigger lover and said she had 2 weeks to move out, the lawsuit alleged. Sutton later called the McCoys and recorded the phone conversation with Patricia McCoy. "I don't want them on my property. Maybe you like black dogs, but I don't," she said on the call, according to the lawsuit. "So just get your stuff and get out." Sutton was served an eviction notice the following day and appeared in court on October 4th. During the hearing, Patricia McCoy said destruction of property was the reason for eviction, although Sutton argued there was no damage. About 2 months later, Sutton and her family moved out of the house. Attorneys for the American Civil Liberties Union of Georgia also represented Sutton in the case. So we're inspired by people who courageously fight for what's fair and just, and so that children can live in America and live the dream that Dr. King dreamed of. So here you have some backwards thinking people that, now this story, the twist is, this was a white lady that was renting from other white people, and when she invited one of her co-workers to her house that was black for a play date for her for the kids, the original owners of the house that was renting the house out to her told her she had to leave because, you know, they didn't want black people in their house or whatever. So $150,000 they got to pay her. So I hope she gets the $150,000, because, you know, usually people like that, they usually try to run and file bankruptcy real quick so they don't have to pay them. Okay, here's my feel-good story of the day. So we got a New Hampshire man accused of slapping teen Trump supporter on primary day. A New Hampshire man accused of slapping a 15-year-old Trump supporter on the day of the state's primary election has been arrested. Patrick Bradley, 34-year-old, slapped the teen after he was polling place left Wyndham High School around 6:15 Tuesday, police said in a statement. Bradley is accused of slapping and assaulting 2 adults who tried to intervene while passing by a campaign tent for the D.C. dunce. He was also accused of throwing Trump signs and trying to knock over the tent, according to police. A woman who said she was the boy's mother told the news that her Republican family supports the D.C. dunce, and her son was volunteering outside the school holding up the D.C. dunce Trump signs and said, "Have a nice night," before he was slapped. Her son wore a "Make America Dumb Again" hat. Tuesday, she said, "It sickens me that people would be angry at a kid wearing a stupid hat." She told the news, adding that teen has been getting a lot of support, blah, blah, blah. Bradley was arrested and charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor assault and 1 count of disorderly conduct. The police said he was being held a $5,000 cash bail and administrative hold for a probation violation Thursday. So, police statement does not explicitly list a motive in the alleged assault. In the second alleged assault case involving Trump supporters of Republicans across this state this month. The other was in Florida, where Gregory Tim, 27, is accused of driving his van through a tent where a local GOP group was registering voters in the Jacksonville neighborhood of Sandalwood. No one was hurt. A deputy communications director for the Trump campaign on Thursday highlighted both incidents. And so it's like, you know, hey, it is what it is. Folks just don't like the D.C. dunce. So get out there and vote. You want to get rid of the dunce, you got to vote. You got to get out there and vote, folks. You got to get out there and vote if you want to get rid of this D.C. dunce. You know, hey, I'm getting ready to go over here right now. We got early voting, and it starts today. And I'm getting ready to go put my ballot in right now. Make sure you got to get rid of the D.C. dunce, get this primary election going right now.